Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Stupid Fat Cat, and today we're going to take a look at how to push a Python package to PyPi. PyPi is a repository for Python packages, and generally speaking, when you pip install something, you're usually pulling it from PyPi by default. That is, unless you specify your index or say that you have a specific repository link that you're pulling from instead. Now, there are several things that you need to have set up ahead of time in order to publish your package to PyPi. So first and foremost, make sure that you have a PyPi account. So go ahead and create one now if you haven't. The second thing that you need is a publish ready package. So if you don't have one, we can create it. So let's get to it. Okay, now that we're here, let's go ahead and create a new repository. So lately, I've been on a Dead by Daylight kick. So let's call this Huntress. I'm gonna create a package called Huntress. This is a package for testing how to push code to PyPi. And let's add a README just so that it's a little bit easier. We'll pick a license and we'll pick a MIT license. Once you create this, you'll have these two files created, a basic readme.md markdown file and a license file. The license file contains all the specific license to this package. GitHub has a nice way of showing you exactly what that means, but we can discuss that at a later video. Let's go ahead and clone this. I've cloned the repository into my local IDE, and we can see that there's the license file and there's also a README. Not too much here. So let's go ahead and create a few files here. One of the files that we need is a setup.config file, and this is specifically because we're using a markdown file for a README. And for PyPi to understand that, you need to make sure that you declare that in your setup.config. We'll add that later. We also need a setup.py file. This is where all the magic happens. It's where we would declare what files that we need to import, what dependencies we have to install, and of course the name and where everything resides. One thing that I like to do is create a test directory. Even if we don't have any tests, it's still good practice to do. Finally, we need our code itself, so let's call that Huntress. It doesn't have to be called Huntress, you can call it whatever you want. And we'll have a main.py file. So if we take a look at the main.py file, it's completely empty. What we'll do here is that we want a chunk of code that at least does something that we can see. We don't really want to overcomplicate this tutorial, so for the sake of brevity, we'll just have a basic function. Thrown hatchet. We'll just have a main function that just says thrown hatchet. If the name is equal to main, we want to call main. Oh, if only I could type. If we were to run this, we should get something fairly straightforward. Thrown hatchet. Nothing too complicated. Now what we want to do in our setup.config file is we want to ensure that we have the right information there to tell it that the README file is a markdown file. So the way to do that is this. This is some code that I copied over, a quick config that says, hey, the description file is a readme.md. Go ahead and read that file, please. Now that we have that, the only thing that's really left for us is to set up the setup.py file. I've taken a setup.py file from my old projects and basically copied it over here. So you can see we have our package name, packages, URL, and all of the other fields set up specifically for this package. What's interesting here is our entry point. So our entry point, we have a console script, huntress.main, call function main. That means that when I install this package, I can just call Huntress and it will throw us into this one particular entry point. Now let's try that out. Now if I were to go to setup.py and do python setup.py install, it should install the whole package, and we can see that it has in fact installed Huntress 0.001. Now all I have to do is call Huntress and we should see the function getting called thrown hatchet. Excellent. Now that we have this, we can go ahead and try and see if it works. Python setup.py sdist, and hopefully it should create the tar.gz file under our distribution directory. And in fact, it does. Now, one thing that I might want to do here is we might want to push our code into our Git repo. So let's go ahead and do that real quickly. Let's commit our files. We don't really have too much to say here. Initial commit with all the necessary files. Okay, now that we have pushed all of our files to GitHub, we will now proceed to install Twine. Pip install Twine. All we have to do is ensure that our distribution directory is there. It is in fact there. So what we'll do is we'll just do Twine upload, Twine upload, distribution, and all the files there. It will ask us for our username. It is stupid fat cat, and my password. Now that we've pushed our files to PyPi, we're nearly done. All we have to do is verify that everything is actually done correctly. So let's go ahead and switch over to our browser view real quickly here. If we take a look at our Git repo, we'll see that we have in fact pushed all of our necessary code into the Git repo. And if we were to go to the PyPi link that Twine provided us, we'll see that Huntress 0.001 is in fact publicly accessible. And of course we have our brief description. We can go to the home page, which should link us directly to the wiki, or not the wiki, but the Git repo. But how do I know that it's 100% working? Well, there's no better solution than trying it ourselves. So let's do that. Okay, so now we can see a quick console here. I created a new virtual environment. Now let's go ahead and activate this. My virtual environment is called test. Go to scripts, activate it, and we can see that we have in fact activated our virtual environment. And let's do a pip install Huntress. Now we can see that it is in fact downloading the package from the Python hosted URL. And if we cd out of this, we can call Huntress, and there we go. Voila. Now another thing that you may want to verify is, hey, I installed it. I can call it via the CLI and go into the entry point, but what if I want to import the package? Well, quite simply, open the REPL from Huntress, import main, main.main, and there you have it. All good. Brilliant work, friends. To recap, today we created a new Python package, we built this package, we published this package to GitHub, and we finally published it to PyPi. We also tested that it actually worked and that we could install it from a brand new virtual environment. If you liked this video, please leave a like button and leave a comment telling me what else you would like to see.